If Trump's past presidency is any indication of what's going to happen this time, what happened last time was anyone who was present unlawfully in the United States was a priority for deportation. Actually, there were no priorities. It wasn't like criminals are first, and then deportees or people with deportation orders are second, and then everyone else is third. Anyone who was present unlawfully in the US was a priority for removal.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Come on in the room. Welcome back to this channel. You heard a snippet of what we're going to talk about today. That was an attorney from Darren Immigration Law. There are a lot of immigration attorneys that are out here now giving their professional opinion about how this deportation will work. They even talk about some of the issues that they believe will arise because of mass deportation. They're also talking about immigration and using some of their clients as examples of what could be a pro or a con depending on which side you are on when it comes down to immigration and deportation. However, I thought it important to get some professional opinions about this particular topic. We know that this topic was one of many that got President Trump another presidency, now becoming the 47th president of the United States. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in and hear what this attorney from Darren Immigration Law had to say about this issue.
The part of the video that a lot of people weren't expecting. I have a ton of clients that live in mixed status families, so they might have US citizen children. The actual client might be a permanent resident or lawfully present in the United States, but their spouse is undocumented. And a lot of them have told me that they support Trump's deportation policies, which leaves me puzzled because they have family members, immediate family members who would be subject to deportation if Trump did everything that he said he was going to do. But they don't actually believe that Donald Trump is going to deport anyone who's present in the US unlawfully. During Trump's campaign and in his rallies, he constantly prioritizes like criminal immigrants. But he doesn't actually make a massive distinction if you ask him to parse it out in all of his interviews. In his mind, anyone who's unlawfully present in the United States is a criminal immigrant. So when some people hear that, they think that only the immigrant who recently entered and was ordered deported and killed a US citizen or committed some serious crime is the one who's going to get deported. That's false. If Trump's past presidency is any indication of what's going to happen this time, what happened last time was anyone who was present unlawfully in the United States was a priority for deportation. Actually, there were no priorities. It wasn't like criminals are first, and then deportees or people with deportation orders are second, and then everyone else is third. Anyone who was present unlawfully in the US was a priority for removal. And in reality, what that actually did was it clogged up the immigration system with so many people who've been here for many years. And in fact, he even made it so that if you apply to legalize your status and your application is denied, even for a technicality, let's say you apply for permanent residence based on marriage to a US citizen and you're trying to fix your status. If it gets denied, even for a technicality, you can ordinarily just resubmit the application and fix the deficiency or technicality. Under Trump, that person was placed into deportation proceedings and was the same level of priority as someone who already has committed crimes. This was bad for the entire immigration system. If that happens again, I will not be pleased for several reasons. Number one, the Department of Homeland Security needs to have immigration priorities. When you're in immigration court, the prosecutor, also referred to as like the Department of Homeland Security trial attorney, typically under most administrations has the discretion to close your deportation case if, for example, you've been paying taxes for a long period of time and have substantial ties to the United States, like many US citizen family members, and have no criminal history and overall are generally a positive contribution to the United States. But those prosecutors lost the power to close cases or create priorities during Donald Trump's last administration. So if that happens again, all of my clients or people who said, I want Donald Trump because it's not going to affect my family, he's just going to deport the criminals, they're going to be in for a rude awakening when their spouse or their family members are targeted.
Talk about mass deportations, people think, oh, it's just going to be the criminals. There's not enough criminals, aliens in the federal prison system for it to be mass deportations. What it means is grandmothers. What it means is brothers and aunts. What it means is abuelos y abuelas. It means dreamers. It means your family members. It means your colleagues. It means your friends. It means people who are part of the society. And look, America, those of you who voted for Trump, this is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. You screwed around and you're about to find out.
There is a housing crisis, is that not enough houses have been built.
And that we have 25 million people who shouldn't be here.
Well, I mean, this is the thing.
I think it's both.
I know you do. I don't think that many people who look into this agree with you, but about a third of the construction workforce in this country is Hispanic. Of those, a large proportion are undocumented. So how do you propose to build all the housing necessary that we need in this country by removing all the people who are working in construction?
Well, I think it's a fair question because we know that back in the 1960s when we had very low levels of illegal immigration, Americans didn't buy houses, didn't build houses. But of course they did. And I'm being sarcastic, of course, in service of a point, Lulu, the assumption that because a large number of home builders now are using undocumented labor, that's the only way to build homes. I think, again,
the country is much bigger. The need is much bigger. I mean, I'm not arguing in favor of illegal immigration. I'm asking how you would deal with the knock-on effect of your proposal to remove millions of people who work in a critical part of the economy.
Well, I think that what you would do is you would take, let's say, for example, the 7 million prime age men who have dropped out of the labor force, and you have a smaller number of women, but still millions of women prime age who have dropped out of the labor force. You absolutely could re-engage folks into the American labor market. This is, I think,
to work in construction?
Of course you could.
I mean, the unemployment rate is 4.1%. Most people
unemployment rate, Lulu, this is important.
But most people who don't work can't work in the regular economy. They're in the military, they're parents, they're sick, they're old. They might not want to work in construction.
The unemployment rate does not count labor force participation dropouts. And again, this is one of the really deranged things that I think illegal immigration does to our society.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
Okay, so I want to pause right there, primarily focusing on the cost of deportation. She said that it would be $88 million per year. But this is what Fox News reported the other day.
Coach has a couple ideas. Here it is. In 2023 alone, illegal immigration cost taxpayers $150.7 billion. But this is conduct.
So let's just pause right there. Let's pull up my handy dandy calculator and let's round it off to $151 billion it takes to feed them in 2023 minus the $88 billion, which was the estimate of the reporter of how much it would cost per year per million people. We would save $63 billion from spending $151 billion to take care of these immigrants. So her estimate was $88 billion a year. And if you subtract that, 151 from that 88, we will have a surplus of $63 billion. We can almost double that. We can almost send 2 million instead of 1 million according to her calculations. I believe that Tom Homan and Trump and that administration already has a plan set up, ready to go. But I'm just going based off what she said. So we would save $63 million. A few months ago, I came out with a video. I couldn't find it to save my life, but when I was speaking of immigration and deportation and things of that nature, I also mentioned that it would be good if jobs were made available to Americans to help Tom and his department. Well, I didn't even know it was going to be Tom at that time, but anyway, I thought that it would be a good idea to involve the citizens, because the police and the National Guard, all of these people can't be at the same place at one time. And I will be dogged if someone didn't come up with the same plan in Missouri this week. So without further ado, let's take a listen.
Are pushing new laws to create a bounty hunter program. It would pay people to turn in those they think are here illegally. First Alert 4 investigator David Amilati following this story. David.
Cameron, this bill was just submitted, and it's sponsored by Sunset Hills-based David Gregory, the House rep elected to the state Senate just last month. Gregory wants to pay Missourians $1,000 if they turn someone in. We've pulled some sections of the state senator's bill. The first part reads that someone here illegally is prohibited from voting in any election. It also keeps a person from receiving any permit or license to drive, receiving any public benefit, and becoming a legal resident of the state. By the way, it's already...
And I wanted to pause it right quick, because speaking of license to drive, no cap, I am not playing, and this is not to be discriminatory in any type of way, but I believe strongly, I almost know this for a fact, the reason why our insurance premiums have gone up, our auto insurance premiums have gone up to new heights, is because a lot of these undocumented people are able to, or they were able to get licensed in certain documents under this current administration. It is totally different. I have been out of the United States, and I am a very good driver. As a matter of fact, I'm a 5-star driver because I drive for Uber and Lyft sometimes. So I would not be able to drive in some of these other countries. They do not follow laws. They make up their own rules. The stop sign means nothing. It's just there for decoration. The stoplight, it means whatever I'm thinking. I mean, there's no type of structure. There's no type of responsibilities when it comes down to these other countries. I've been there, and I was like, no way could I drive under these conditions and circumstances. But a lot of these people that have came over and have enjoyed the benefits of being here, they were also granted a license to drive. And a lot of these people don't have insurance, and they can't have insurance because they don't have other proper paperwork that's needed in order to get certain policies. So I believe that's one of the reasons why our insurance rates have gone up, and our homeowners rates. Let's keep it 100. We'll continue.
Already illegal to vote if you're not a citizen. Now, the proposed bill also calls for the Department of Public Safety to develop this Missouri Illegal Alien Certified Bounty Hunter Program. The program would certify Missouri residents to be bounty hunters to find and detain illegal immigrants in the state. It says DPS shall develop an information system for people to report violations, including a toll-free telephone hotline, email, and online reporting portal. The bill summary clearly states any person who makes a report in which an illegal alien is arrested shall receive a reward of $1,000. Now, I asked local attorney Javad Ghazali just about this bill. He's a former U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement prosecutor. He calls this the worst bill he's seen written. And to put a bounty on someone's head because someone believes they're here illegally is incredibly dangerous.
As a civil rights attorney, that's great for me. You know, it'll take 1 week before we get a call that some Puerto Rican who's a U.S. citizen has been harassed, has been arrested. This is classic demanding your papers. You must have your papers with you everywhere. This is Nazi Germany type stuff.
Okay, so we have to have our license as U.S. citizens, even though I know my license number, and sometimes, well, I always have my license with me, but there could be, and there has been a time or two that I left my wallet at home. But thankfully, I remembered my license number, and I could give the other information that was listed on my license. But you should already have a license in your possession, some type of identification. So that shouldn't be an issue. I'm not going to stay on this issue long, but can you imagine if this bill was to pass, not only in Missouri, but throughout the country? Oh my goodness. The lines would be long. They would have to cut off employment when it comes down to people who would love to make this type of money. Get that and see how it feels to be able to get this type of money, as illegals have been able to get in forms of money so they can buy what they want instead of what is provided for them. Things of that nature. Like it would be great for a lot of our men to be able to do this type of work if it was proposed. And I believe all of the border states, I actually live on a border state, and I have seen, which we're not a sanctuary state or city, but I've seen an influx of people come in. Like I said, my neighborhood is definitely not the same as what it once was. So I like the bill. I really do. I believe that if you are here for the right reasons, if you truly are seeking asylum, I believe you should be able to be heard. But just to have people randomly going through the streets and going this place, that place, creating accidents. I got into an accident earlier this year, as a matter of fact. And still I'm in litigation with that. It's a mess. So let me know what you think about this situation. I like the idea. I do not want to be discriminatory towards anybody, but everybody should have their ID on them at all times. We have to make this country safe again. We have to make our community safe again. And one last thing, I am a part of my neighborhood association. I'm a part of the community. And a few, maybe about a year ago, I wasn't getting, everyday emails about what's going on in my immediate community. But I promise you not. These last few months, I get an email every day talking about some type of break-in, talking about some type of carjacking, talking about some type of shooting every day. Not even 3 weeks ago, my daughter came home from school. Not an hour later, all of a sudden we hear gunshots. Pop, 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 pop. And I said, Lord, I thank you because my child was able to get in the house in enough time. But what if that was not the case? The police came by. Something was going on with my doorbell, my video doorbell. So I couldn't get the footage. But this is what we're now facing. Things that used to not be a problem, a daily problem, is now part of our daily lives. And I don't rock with that. Anyway, let me know what you think. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. May the Most High bless you and yours.